I'm Lou Rosalia, and this is Crew Call. You have to be in it to win it. That's today's subject on Crew Call. Hey, welcome everybody. And speaking about being in it to win it, we have a true winner with us. Sitting in for Mr. Scott Glozzi today is Jess Dubois. Jess, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm stoked to be here.
Hey, Jess.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, Jess.
And we have our
Lou, were you the big?
Go ahead. What?
Were you the big winner?
Huh?
Were you in Chicago? You were the guy that bought the single
amazing,
ticket
right? And you know what? That's really funny. First of all, Frank Scacciafaro speaking, and Joe Scacciafaro, our other esteemed panelist. Welcome all. No, I was not in. I think it was Chicago, Minneapolis, somewhere in the middle states.
Yeah, I think it was Chicago.
Yeah, we're actually filming this, videoing it, shooting it, whatever we call it today. A couple of days after somebody won $1 billion in Mega Millions. How crazy is that? It's. But you know what? You got to be in it to win it. And that's kind of what Joe's article was about on our blog. And it's also available on Facebook under Joe Scacciafaro, his Facebook account. And Joe gives we're going to focus on 4. He actually gives 6 really critical career moving points and tips and tools to accelerate you through your entire career or entire project or entire life. It's good for anything, really. So I want to set it up with Joe, in the article, you begin with what we just were riffing on a little bit. You got to be in it to win it, or you got to be in it. How literal were you speaking when you gave that little nugget?
Very as literal as you possibly can, because if you're not in the game, you're out of the game. You can't do anything when you're on the sidelines. You don't support. Fans can't really change the nature of what's going on the field. The same goes for us. Your career doesn't do anything if you're sitting there thinking about it. So that was the motive. All the niceties that you just added to that article were not in my head when I wrote it. It was just that. I get tired of people telling me about how they can't get ahead and they can't do this and they can't do that. And when I ask them, well, what are you doing to make that happen? I'm looking up stuff on Indeed, and I filed this, and I've mentioned it to a couple other people that, if something opens, please give me a call. That's not getting in it.
Yeah. And you know what? One of the benefits of your writing is the benefit of our audience being able to learn and have a little bit of knowledge transfer from your experience and successes in the business. Jess is part of that. She's on this side of it. You're on that side of it in terms of the sharing, and we'll talk to her a little bit about it, as well as Frank, but everybody kind of knows Frank's story right now. Frank, if there were a career that you wanted to get into outside of media and entertainment, have you ever thought about how you would break into it? Because media and entertainment seems nearly impossible to break into, which is another subject.
I mean, the only other career I ever thought about in any depth would have been playing baseball for a living.
That's another one that's almost impossible to get in.
Right. I mean, there is a more defined path, I guess, for a sports career, but it's still 1 in a million type of shot. But yeah, I was like everybody, I feel like people probably know by now, as long as they follow our shows or whatever, that I was exposed to the industry so young. So it was almost and because I had such an interest in it, there really wasn't another option for me. I mean, there were other options, but it wasn't something I ever thought about because I enjoyed being in this industry and kept getting to the next level of it. So I never really, I guess to answer your question simply, no, I never really thought about it.
I think the purpose of the question is that in industries that there aren't this clearly defined path like law or medicine or many, many others. There's a methodology, and Joe has really come up with that, and it's called the Faro method. And the big top categories are get in, which we spoke about, get skills, and then getting ahead. And that's kind of a representation of what's on the panel today: getting in, getting skills, and getting ahead. And Jess, I wanted to talk to you because you're the most recent of the college grads who have gone to school for this. And in college, there's the college world, and then there's the real world. Does college give you any tools, maybe, maybe not, I don't know, to prepare you for getting actually into the business? They'll teach you about it. But what do they do once they give you that diploma and you're congratulated?
Interesting. At first, I thought you were going to go the route like, what did you learn in college that could have been beneficial in the industry, which was a lot. But unfortunately, on the latter side, honestly, not much. When I graduated college, they just said, you got your piece of paper, we got your money. That's really it. I mean, I learned a lot by taking these classes. Like I learned how to like set up equipment. I learned how to use a camera because I accidentally took an intro to filmmaking course. So like things like that, I absolutely needed, and they gave me the skills. But as far as once I got the actual piece of paper, that was really it. I mean, they didn't guide me anywhere. You know, they didn't push me in the right direction, which is one of the reasons why I think Faro City is so incredible, because I got my degree and I came out and I said, okay, what do now? And at Faro City was like, come here, stick with me, kid. I'll help you out. I'll get you where you need to be. I'll network you with the people you need to network. Study this, but it's not as rigorous. I mean, it was great. It really guided me where I needed to be, where I was hoping college would do that, but it just kind of didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Joe, you gave and thank you for the Faro City compliments, Jess.
You guys are great. This is like a Faro City commercial. This is a straight up infomercial.
Well, I mean, maybe not. It's, you know what? Regardless of what it is, it's the truth, and it's provable. It's provable
exactly.
by the results. So
that's what I tell people all the time. They have to join Faro City. I mean, you have to be silly not to. We give you the tools. We literally are like, here you are. Let's help you succeed. Why wouldn't you want that? If you want the job, you want to succeed, you want the help.
Yeah. And speaking of
help,
all right,
cut that clip right there. That clip. Put that out on social right now. Cut that. That goes out. Thank you, Jess.
Gotcha.
Excellent.
You read those lines perfectly. Thank you.
We did. Guys, can we give her
I actually believed you.
Can we give her
You didn't even look like you were reading from the teleprompter.
I did. Wait, that was really the script?
Speaking
all right, Louie, what do you got?
Speaking about scripts, I want to talk about planning. Joe, in the piece, article, blog, whatever they call it today, you gave a great example of effectively planning things. So, Jess, you just gave an example of having no plan to falling into a plan, Faro City. And within Faro City, Joe, you spoke about planning, and you gave a great example. And the example was about the planning around a hike in the Grand Canyon. You want to talk about that for a minute, and then people can actually read it if they want in the actual article.
You want me to talk about when I was at the Grand Canyon and did the hike and what I experienced? It was pretty awesome. That's a beautiful place. Yeah. God made it an awesome. Is that what we're going to talk about? Because I also got these Zero hiking shoes. They're awesome. It feels like you're barefoot, but you're actually not. But is that where we're going? No, I know that's not where we're going.
No. But it's part of
it. The point I was making was, again, it goes back to my opening statement, is if you're going to sit home and you're going to look at, pictures of the Grand Canyon and you're going to think, oh, I want to do that. That's really awesome. How cool that would be. And you start thinking about it. That's not doing it. Mm-hmm. That's just thinking about it. And that doesn't take any effort. It doesn't take any work. And more importantly, you get nothing back from that. There's no life experience that has any value. If you're at the Grand Canyon, you can't just go through the Grand Canyon and go down and start hiking. You still have to have a plan. So you do have to sit there and think about, how am I going to do this? So there is a planning stage to everything. But the next stage is doing. You have to do it. So that analogy works for our careers. You can think about, wouldn't it be cool to do that? I would love to do what Frank does. I would love to do what Jess does. I want to be involved in that. Wouldn't it be cool to be on that set? And then you have to do it. So hundreds, thousands of people sit in a concert and look at the stage and go, wow, that's really cool. I would love to do the lights. I would love to do this. I would love to play guitar. I would love to be a singer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not really doing it. You got to have a plan. Get up out of the seat, go home, figure out how you're going to take voice lessons, figure out how you're going to get in, then go do that. Don't spend your whole life planning, because that's the same as just sitting in the seat. You got to get up and go do it.
Mm-hmm.
Go kick in the door and start making mistakes.
I thought you were going to say, just get up out of your seat, go on the stage and sing a song.
What could possibly go wrong?
That's a perfect way to make a mistake. That's a great thing.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Like open night at the comedy club, right?
Yeah.
Jess, oftentimes people don't even know the questions to ask to make a plan. And that's kind of an important thing. I've watched you very successfully take on projects that were either outside of your channel of focus or expertise, and you've done a killer job. I mean, amazing. And one of them that I was personally involved in that I can vouch for firsthand was a film festival you ran, which was really awesome. And I know you've never run a film festival, but this was fantastic. And you did such a great job. How do you walk us through, like, how do you walk into a situation and then come up with a plan, especially when you know, it's familiar, but not in your alley?
The first thing I would suggest is don't psych yourself out. If anyone out there is anything like me, I'm my harshest critic. I sometimes am scared to even try because I'm scared to fail.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times that is where I go wrong, because I'm so scared that I'm not going to do a great job right away that I stop myself from even succeeding further. So as far as like the film festival went, I lucked out because I had partnered up with somebody who, you know, together we were able to create one whole unit. The things that I was really good at, he was terrible at. And the things that I was terrible at, he was really good at. So we both kind of used both of our powers and combined them to create one event. So I really took care of more of booking vendors and performers and, you know, anything like that, like fire breathers and bands and whatnot. As he would take care, they would more take care of like the film submissions and whatnot. And then you were thankfully one of our wonderful judges. So you got to pick the winning films, the 3 winning films for that festival, which you did a great job at, by the way.
Thank you.
But yeah, it was something that I was very hesitant to do, and I was nervous, and I didn't think I could pull it off because I had never done anything like that before. And I just kind of sink or swim. Sometimes I get so wrapped up in my own head that I don't want to move forward, and I plan and I plan and I plan. And like Joe was saying, I plan forever. So I'm stuck in my seat just planning because I'm scared to make the jump. So after a certain point, you got to flip the switch and just say, sink or swim, you know, figure it out, do it. You have to do it to learn.
I have a follow-up.
I have a quick question. I have a question before you start your follow-up.
Sure, go ahead.
So were those dragons that were the fire breathers? The actual, and how were they in cages? Were they just tied by chains? How do you get the fire breathers not to hurt people?
Okay, so I left my dragons at home for this one specific event, yes. But we would hire performers, fire breathing performers. Or they are
not dragons.
Not dragons. And I'm sorry to disappoint if anyone was hoping I had dragons. I'm really sorry about that one.
As soon as you say fire breathers, I don't know who else breathes fire except dragons.
Good old-fashioned people.
Kind of look like Khaleesi. You could be.
Yeah. So just some good old-fashioned people dressed up and dancing around a fire, breathing said fire. We also had sideshow performers like bearded ladies and, you know, a bunch of different oddities, I think you could say.
Now, would that be Sideshow Bob?
Sideshow Bob. More like Sideshow Jess, I think.
Sorry to disrupt. Go ahead, Frank.
No, it was good.
I was going to say, I actually had a question for Lou because of that. First of all, I didn't know you were one of the judges of this film festival. And speaking of doing that stuff, since you were this wizard of the film festival, obviously I'm assuming you've never done anything like that before.
Professionally, I have not, but I have done similar work at the film festivals in Cannes. So looking for acquiring films for distribution, all that. So that's kind of like judging films, but for real big money.
Right, but and then I guess what I
Yeah.
was getting at was like that's not something you do
No.
professionally, and you're not in the
No,
industry,
I am not.
right? So you're looking at it as someone watching a film and what you enjoy. Now, was there any like nervousness on your part where like if I just don't like this film, I could possibly ruin somebody's dreams or thing of getting ahead because they see you as the
Yeah,
judge
yeah.
judging my film that I've worked on for a year and a half.
You know what's interesting? But as Joe always says, you got to tell them the truth. Number one, it's a business decision, first of all, because that's what that venue and event is about. It's about acquiring films. But for the artist, I think it's unfair to them if you don't want it or you don't want it included in your portfolio to share with them why. Maybe it's a great film, but it's just not right for your company, for what you're doing, or for your target market, or you probably won't represent it. Or if you have artistic criticism, which I couldn't on a technical level because I know nothing about making films. You guys do. So that's something you would share with them. So I'm always careful to give advice in a creative way. So if there's an issue, I give the cause or the reason. Did that
So
answer?
bottom line is you don't care about the artist. You're a cold-hearted sociopath who's just going to destroy some young person's aspirations, and that's that.
Yeah, that's it.
No
Okay,
hopes
that's
and
good.
dreams on his watch.
That's it.
Yes,
He's
that's
an
it.
overlord.
He's an overlord.
Hello.
Yes, not a wizard.
Haram.
He is not a wizard. He's an overlord.
Yes, I am an overlord.
That is so funny. But, Lou,
Okay,
you
go ahead, Lou.
did a great job.
Jess, I wanted to go back to you really quick for a quick follow-up. When you said that you used to get stuck, a lot of people do get stuck and they overplan and it's paralysis through analysis and all that other stuff. Do
Yeah.
you have a trick or a tool that's you said, I just got to go and do it? Like, what's that snap point? Do you just look in the mirror, click your heels 3 times? What is it?
If I'm gonna be like honest, just as honest as I could be with you guys, it's when I have officially had enough of myself.
Okay.
When I have officially hit my breaking point with myself, that I say, Jess, you've been in the same spot for 4 days mapping out a plan. You got to just do something. You got to just do it, And it really is. It's myself. It's no like, I wish there was some great realization. Sometimes it takes me longer to snap out of it,
Mhm.
But all in all, it is myself just being like, all right, come on, you got to do it. If you want to succeed, you have to try.
Yeah, and that's going to be our next topic, which Joe speaks about moving. But before I go there, Frank, is there any point in time that you know something so well that you're like, there's no real need to plan for any of this stuff. I'm just going to go in and it's going to be the same. Like you're going to go do the U.S. Open in next week or a couple of weeks? Are you planning for that? You've done it so many times. You've done it so successfully, and it's always a zoo. There's a tornado, a flood. There's always something crazy. Do you plan, or you're like, I got this? They can't throw anything at me.
I mean, I've done it the past 2 years. Like I know for 80%, 90% of what to expect as far as like the build and how all that goes. But there's always either new challenges. Maybe they move us to a different, either add courts. Like last year they added 4 courts, and I'm saying tennis courts. So like it was more things that we were responsible for. But it's also like I'm in a certain position where I'm not one of the newbies. So I have to more, since I know the build, I'm actually planning more for like that they being Fletcher, the company that I'm working for. There are people higher up that obviously know the whole entire plan and know all the gear and everything more than I do. But I'm in a pretty solid position where I know, obviously, like I said, I know the build, I know all the gear for the most part, and I know how the actual system works. So I get put more in a position to then kind of teach or help or guide the other people that it could be their first year, or if they're just, it's not something they're so familiar with. So it's more, I guess, me planning on making sure I do that, not condescendingly, or, and making sure that I can help the next generation, so to speak. And when I say generation, I don't even mean generation of, it's not younger people. It's just people that are doing, it's not somebody younger than me or like a kid coming out of college. It's just someone who hasn't been on that system before.
Right.
Yeah, thanks for adding that last part, because that's what I was gonna cut in with, because everybody's making an assumption that you're talking about the next generation. You're talking about younger people, and in our industry, it's not. It's somebody who hasn't done that.
Mhm.
It's a generation of skill. It's not a
Yeah.
generation of age.
Right.
Oh, that's a great line. That's better than wizard.
I was just about to say that was great. You hit the nail on the head with that.
Generation of
All right,
skill.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we can roll the prompter a little faster now. We can pass that
Yeah.
line.
Step 2 of the Farrell method: get in, get skills, get ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Joe, everything we talked about kind of had there's a constant through line, and it's really just being in motion. Jess needed to move off of this to stop the planning. Frank needs to move more to plan more to help the next generation. You spoke about how motion is really kind of the force that propels everything, literally and figuratively. Unpack that a little bit for us. What's the benefits of just moving sometimes?
I don't know if I'm exactly sure what you're asking me.
Okay,
So I'm just going to answer the way I feel like it.
go ahead.
So
Just going to answer my own question.
Yeah, go ahead. You wrote it. You're going to do it. You're going to be perfect. Go.
I wrote it, and as you all know, the minute I finish something, I forget I did it. I have read, looked, and watched things that I've done and go, wow, that's pretty good. Who did that? So motion, when you're doing stuff, is when you're actually learning, but you're not learning. You're not cognitive of the fact that you're learning at the moment. You'll figure that out the next time around. You'll realize you can apply what you experienced, and that experience becomes skills and knowledge. But if you're not in motion, if you're not moving, then you don't get the experience, which in turn you don't get the knowledge and the skills.
Mm-hmm.
And the last part of that is some of that's good and some of that's bad, but you need the experience. So motion and experience to me go hand in hand. If you want the experience of going to Disney, you have to be in motion. You have to go to Disney and be in motion and go through and experience all of what Disney has to offer.
Yeah.
How's that for a promo?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
that's good.
great.
I was just to add on that, I was going to say that experience for me about, and the one thing that you said about like, you don't really know when you're learning until the next time you go to do that. And then and then you remember all those things that for me are mistakes or something that you I guess it is a mistake doing something wrong or not the most efficient way. And then you realize the next time you're like, oh, I didn't need to do that at all. Or, oh, I'm never gonna make that mistake again because it cost me a half an hour of building, or it cost me, if you're going to Disney and you spend money on something that really didn't help you out.
Yeah.
To get the fast pass or whatever the hell that is. I'm only referring to it because I know we know someone who was just there and spent all this money on certain things that really didn't change
Anything.
The experience that much in a good way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that learning is like Joe said, it's like that's a huge thing that I didn't even realize until you just said it, that I've learned so much without realizing that I'm learning it until the next time I go to do something similar.
Yeah.
And
And then you're like, here's everything I won't do or will do.
I've heard it put that the phrase is movement breeds clarity, which is kind of what you guys are saying. By moving and doing things, you're going to get a clearer view, maybe not immediately, but at some time, if that was the right move or the wrong move, or how you could have done it better or even worse. But you have to move. And I think, Joe, that was the question, which is what you did answer. So that movement does breed clarity to whatever you're doing and gives you the opportunity to look at it and move ahead. Frank, part of moving and learning is what you just alluded to with the US Open. You started out as the learner. Now you're being relied on to teach that next generation of skills to people. Do you ever regret that? Don't like that? How do you feel about having to pass on that knowledge to others?
No, I like it for two reasons. And one benefits me in my own self-confidence, and the other benefits anybody who's learning. So the first part of it, kind of benefiting me, well, it really just it makes me know that they have confidence. And I keep saying they, and it means the people I'm working for at that time, that company, which is Fletcher, and that I work for them a lot, that just makes me know that they have confidence in me and my skills and my ability and my grasp of that technology to then, pass that along to the other people that are just learning for that time. Then on the other side, it's beneficial obviously for the people that are learning. And and it's one thing that, that has been ingrained in my DNA. I won't even say in my brain. This is in my DNA, that if I don't, from obviously the other Scott Shafaro sitting in the room, but it's also just not even because he's my father. It's just because of that's just how he works in business and in the Faro method, as we keep talking about, is like, if I'm unsure about something, I'm not going to teach them that. I'm going to say, I don't know. I'm not going to just make something up or say something that I think might be right, because then that's going to either really screw them up. One, because the other guys from Fletcher know that I'm teaching them. So if I teach them something wrong, then one, that's going to look bad on me. Number two, more importantly, that if they don't even find out, then those other people are going to take that as fact, and they're going to be listening to me and think that everything I'm saying is the way to do something, and maybe it's not. So then they're going to pass that on, and then it's just going to get worse and worse and worse, and so on and so forth whenever they're in that position.
Yeah, that's so true. Bad information is is plentiful out there, right? You can get a lot of nonsense. Jess,
the propagation of bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. Jess is a firsthand expert of getting yourself involved across many aspects of media and entertainment. I'm sure you've had to be pointed in a couple of directions by people and mentors to help you maybe get a couple of questions answered, or just a path to go on. Has that been helpful to you or more harmful? Because there is bad information, there's good information. How does it shake out?
Well, it really depends on the people that you're asking the advice from. I'm very fortunate in the fact where you guys are my support system and who I would go to for advice. And you guys are media professionals for a reason. You're wizards for a reason. I would even say overlords, honestly. You guys are wonderful. No, so if I need help and if I'm not sure if I'm doing something right, or say tomorrow I get a job as a script supervisor, which I have never done before, you bet your butt I'm going on Faro City and I'm going to take a crash course, and I'm also going to call Joe and say, hey, listen, can you give me a little help real quick? So it really depends on who you have to ask. If you're just going out and you meet somebody for the first time and you're going to take their word as bond, I don't necessarily encourage that. I'm a very weary person, so I always like to make sure that I am like completely covered and completely comfortable if I have faith in somebody. But yeah, it really depends on who you surround yourself with. But I think it's more beneficial to ask for help. But you also need to be able to weed through the bullshit, honestly.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Joe, I picked up a line in the article where you said, the quote is, you need to do, then adjust as you go. And it reminded me of another version of that I heard, which was progress, not perfection. Explain your thinking. What were you talking about when you said you need to do and then adjust and correct?
The theme is the same theme. You're in motion, you're doing stuff, and then you're going to perfect what you're doing as you're doing it. You're not going to go in, Jess said it very succinctly, you're not going to go in and be 100%. You're not going to go in and nail it every time. So you're going to go in and you're going to start getting better. As you're doing it, you're going to start seeing things that you wouldn't have seen in the beginning. As you're in the midst of it, you're going to look around and go, oh, wait, I could just do this to that. And you're going to start learning that. Or even in my position, and it's not even, I continue to do it. I ask people all the time how to do stuff because I learn from people's newness. I learn from people looking at their fresh eyes on a situation. So as we're doing it, everybody who's worked for me knows that you don't talk to me while we're in it. But sometimes if I'm doing something, and Frank has that privilege of being able to interrupt me saying, why are we doing that? Why don't we just run that cable through here? Or why don't we just, set that camera up over there? And even though I'm going in my direction and I don't want to be interrupted, it does process. And I go, as I'm going, I stop in my head and go, wait a second. Don't just do this because this is the way you want to do it. Listen to that advice for a second and then evaluate it and then go, oh shit, that is a better way to do it. Let's do that. And then I'll usually hand it off and just say, yeah, what you just said is better. Go ahead and do it because I'm not thinking that way, because they've already thought it through.
Yeah.
So that's the process is you have to be in it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be in it. You have to be in motion and you have to be doing things and then be willing to adjust.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just be so, and everything we're talking about is a balance.
Yeah.
You can't be this, but you have to be that. You can't have your plan and not be able to move off it, but you also have to stick to a plan because people have already lined up behind you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you keep doing this, you're just going to lose everybody. So there's all these balances in everything you do. And that's really the bottom line, is just keep an open mind, keep moving forward, and learn as you're going along. Jess is a perfect example of all of this. I mean, she's only been at it a short period of time. When you compare it to the length of time I've been at it or Frank's been at it, she has picked up all of those traits that we had to learn over decades. She's assumed and has learned that from paying attention to what's around her. So that's a perfect, and plus I'd rather have her on than Gloss anyway. So so I'm just going to keep saying how great she is.
Well, I love that. We love you, Gloss. We do love you, Gloss.
No, we don't.
But that honestly, that's a great point, Joe. And I couldn't agree with you more. I feel like that's the same with the industry and just everything in life in general is you don't know until you try. And then you try harder the next time, you do better the next time. And you just keep learning. Like if you walk on set and you're like, I have absolutely nothing to learn here. I've been doing this for 40 years. What's anybody going to teach me? I mean, you're not going to learn anything because you're shutting yourself off. Every single day there's more to learn. And you, Joe, you have said that yourself, that you go on, an open mind and you retain all the information you possibly can.
Yeah. I'm doing stuff to this day that I come home and go, wow, that was cool. How did I miss that? I think about that a lot. How did I miss that? After all these years, how did I not see that moment?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure there's a psychology to it. But the only trick is pay attention.
Yeah.
The specific thing, especially what Jess just said, where if you walk into a situation where you're like, this is something, I'm not gonna learn anything here. The thing that you actually should learn in that situation is how to just, if you're not the one in charge or whatever, how to kind of take that other role and learn how to follow whoever's supposed to be leading that thing. Even if you 100% know that either they're doing it not the way you would do it, not necessarily if it's a wrong way, not the way you would do something or not the way you would lead that group, but you're learning how to take a different role in that specific project or whatever you're doing.
That's Frank. What a meta answer. It's truly awesome. That's a great thing.
Yeah, that's a great answer, Frank.
Really is. Let's close out with this. Joe, in your article, your last piece was about, your quote was, mistakes count as a positive. And I want to quote another great man, painting legend Bob Ross, in his PBS show, right, Jess? He said, we don't make mistakes, we just have happy little accidents. And by the way, here are the Bob Ross bandages for happy little accidents.
Are those his head?
Yeah, absolutely. His head? Bob Ross bandages right there.
Oh,
he looks like a chia pet.
Yeah. Well, they have a Bob Ross chia pet.
Bob Ross chia pet.
Oh, of course. I mean, of course they do. His hair is amazing.
Yeah. And the quick story, that's a perm, obviously. He was a drill sergeant in the Air Force. That's his real gig, which is totally opposite of his TV persona. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. He did this.
That was before he discovered weed.
Yeah. He did this hair thing and they had no money. So he did the perm. They created all the logos and the graphics back in the day when it wasn't as easy as jumping on a computer. And they went with it, PBS. And he got stuck keeping the stupid hairdo because the show caught on and everything was branded around his afro. So that's the Bob Ross afro story. Yeah.
Wait, what was he in the Air Force?
A drill sergeant. He was a trainer. He was in your face, screaming at you.
That's crazy.
That whole thing is completely opposite what he does, which is completely amazing. Back to accidents, Joe. You touched on it briefly. What was how does allowing yourself to do that allowing yourself to do that make you better? Like, what can go wrong if you don't pay attention, if you do pay attention to it, making mistakes?
Yeah, I don't subscribe to the fact that you should let yourself fail. And you shouldn't let yourself make mistakes. Mistakes will happen naturally. But the problem, the thing that you have to take away from a mistake is, and Frank said it, you're going to learn to, okay, I'm not going to do that. Oh, wow. That cost me a half hour. That cost me a job. That cost me a connection. That cost me, a big glitch in my career. There's minors and there's big mistakes. But all of those mistakes are only mistakes if you repeat them. And that's my take home. If you repeat the mistake, then it's absolutely a mistake.
Yeah.
But if you learn from that mistake, then that's a learning experience, which is invaluable, because all of us, Jess said it, I'll say it 100 times. We all say the same thing. I remember my failures where things went wrong more effectively than I remember all of the things I did right, because those things stick. I can list them. I can't list all my successes, but I damn well can list every time I screwed up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that is so relatable. That is so
Yeah.
relatable.
And Jess, I'm going to stick with you. Being a Joe and Bob Ross fan, as we both are, how much value have you found in the mistakes you were able to correct?
Oh my God. I mean, endless, limitless value. Seriously, I have a tendency to, I don't really learn my lesson until I get burned. So I don't learn until I make the mistake, which has, its pros and cons. But for the most part, I've learned how to try to keep it a pro. But yeah, that's what I have to do. I have to make the mistakes, and I have to mess up. I have to mess up, and I have to feel bad, or maybe not be so proud of a project, in order for me to say, hey, now light the fire under your ass, go get it, and go get them next time. It's okay to mess up, which I struggle with all the time. But at the end of the day, I have to remember it is okay to make a mistake, because that's how you learn. If you're not making any mistakes, I mean, then it just seems like you would be perfect. And perfection is something I strive for, and hopefully we'll reach it one day. But who knows if that's really possible.
You're close.
Progress.
Not
perfection.
Not perfection. Thank you for the callback. Excellent. Mr. Frank.
Good one,
Frank. Mr. Frank, has fear of making a mistake ever prevented you from doing something?
No. I would never refer to it as fear anyway.
Elaborate.
I would. I get, because I think we spoke about this on another episode at one point. It's more the pressure, not really fear. But I personally thrive better with pressure, not fear. Because I don't know if it's just because I'm confident in myself and my skills and my abilities and what I've learned from mistakes or just learned over the years. But yeah, I don't know. In any fearful situation or stressful or pressure situation, that's something I definitely I perform better in that situation.
That is the truth. And I think it was 2 episodes ago. So if these are numbered, we can track it down.
Yeah, and I'll speak for him, having known him most of his life. That's a competitiveness.
Yeah.
If you're competitive, and it doesn't have to be competitive against someone else, it's internal. You're competing with yourself. So you're going into it, you're taking the pressure on, and you're fighting through it to get it done so that you can prove to yourself, F you, I did it.
Yeah.
And I got through it.
Don't make the mistake that I could be nervous about it, but I'm not afraid. You know what I mean?
Understood.
Like I could be nervous about going into something that I'm not like 100% thinking that myself can do it. But then on the other half of me, it's like, no, I do have that confidence that I can get through it.
Right.
and I can figure out whatever the job is that I might be doing. Like I was just on something recently. It was a fight, which I do fights all the time, but it was in a situation where it was me and another guy that we're not newbies to the situation, but usually one of us is paired up with another person that's a little bit more experienced on one aspect of the build that we were doing for the JITA camp. Him and I happen to have a similar knowledge of stuff. So we kind of both were like a little bit weary and a little nervous kind of going into it. But then as we start doing it, we're like, oh no, like I do know this.
Right. And
then you work through it and it's whatever. And then you realize it's like, I don't even know why I was a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
You know, but again, it's not, it could be the nerves. It's not a fearful situation. If I'm scared, then it's like, I know something's wrong with myself. If I'm like actually scared and shaking and like I don't get like that.
Jess, you had something?
No. Yeah. One thing that Joe had said to me the other day, which I absolutely loved, was that if you're not nervous, you don't care. And that stuck with me, like, just because I'm a nervous person. So hearing someone of his, I guess you say magnitude, saying, if you're not nervous, you don't care, was great for me. I'm like, oh, great. I must care so much. I'm doing great.
Yeah.
I'm nervous all the time. I care about
I'm doing great.
I got this down.
But that was something that he said to me, and I latched onto it right away. And I really hope that I could help somebody else out there, because if you're not nervous, you don't care.
Yeah. Well, guys and lady, thank you very much. It was a great show. I appreciate all your contributions. Jess, thank you for joining us and sitting in for Mr. Scott. And
thank you for having me.
Yeah, we hope to have you again. I'm sure we will. And I
not hope, we will.
I'm sure we definitely will.
Really?
Oh, we're definitely going to do it. There's no question.
I'm coming back, guys. You can't get rid of me.
All right, everybody. You guys have a great week, and we'll see you all next time.
All right. Have a good day, guys.
Yes.